Hi, I'm Cynthia Duncan with Yellow Door Homes, powered by Remax Heritage. I'm your local Kansas City realtor, and today I want to talk to you about 10 tips for buying a home. Please don't forget to hit that like button. The first tip is to visit some open houses. I say this because you've probably already gone onto a mortgage site and plugged in some numbers that give you a general idea of your price point. I know a lot of realtors will tell you to get pre-approved first, but I truly believe that viewing homes first is one of the best ways to get prepared for buying a house. Visiting open houses will expose you to the different types of floor plans that are in your area. It will also show you what you can get for the money in different price points. Tip number 2, get pre-approved. You want to know how much you can afford. Then of that, you want to figure out how much you are comfortable with paying. No one wants to be house poor, so most people don't purchase a home for the highest amount the bank offers them. You may want to keep your payments low so you're able to invest in other opportunities. A good lender will provide you with a cost estimate sheet to give you a good idea of what your payment will be. That includes your mortgage loan principal and interest, as well as your monthly homeowner's insurance, real estate taxes, and mortgage insurance, if you're putting down less than 20%. Tip number 3, interview a local realtor to represent you. There are lots of website suggestions for what to ask the realtor, but some of those questions don't make any sense. I think one of the best ways to interview a realtor is by asking, how do they communicate? What days and hours do they work? Do they have a partner to assist you should they be on vacation when you need them? Make sure their answers align with what you are expecting as a level of service from your realtor. No one wants to work with someone that is unavailable when you need them. Think about this. If you were very sick and you needed to see your doctor and you called the office and the response was, he's booked out for 2 weeks, we'll get you scheduled then. Would you continue to go to that doctor's office? Probably not. That's why most doctors are in practices with other doctors and nurse practitioners that can see you on a short notice. I'm in the business of education. When I meet a new home buyer, I take them out on a date for coffee so we get to know each other, and I walk them through a high-level overview of the home buying process so they don't feel overwhelmed once we find their dream home, because the process moves very fast from that point. Another great way to meet a realtor is by stopping in at open houses. These are realtors that are showing you that they are available to work for you. But the caveat is that you shouldn't use the listing agent to buy a house. I know that may seem confusing, but what I want to point out is that the listing agent is working for the seller. If that house that's open is not the house for you, but you like the realtor, perfect. You can have them represent you on the purchase of a house that you do want. Tip number 4, do not believe the online values. I'm not going to mention any specific website, but those estimates are not accurate. Oops. If you started with my tip number 1, you probably already know that not all square footage is the same. You may visit 2 homes during an open house that are the same size and price. One home has lots of upgrades like granite countertops, beautiful hardwood floors, freshly painted. The other home may not have ever had any updates. A month later, you notice that the outdated home has dropped their price and may still be on the market, while the updated home went under contract the day after the open house. You and the buyer saw the value in that first home because you saw it in person and didn't just base that off of square footage or some weird algorithm. However, if you looked at the Zestimate, the estimated value of the property probably showed the same for both. Tip number 5, know your costs. When I'm meeting with a new buyer for coffee, I go over the cost section in detail. Some of the costs you can expect to pay are inspection costs, an earnest deposit that is due at the time you go under contract. In my area, this is usually around 0.5 to 1% of the purchase price. The earnest deposit shows the seller that you're fully vested in the purchase of the house. The earnest deposit is considered a part of your down payment. So if your down payment is $5,000 and you put down a $1,000 earnest deposit, you'll only need to bring the remaining $4,000 the day of closing. You'll also have closing costs and prepays, which include title insurance, your lender's loan processing fee, a year's worth of homeowner's insurance, plus 3 months of homeowner's insurance and 3 months of taxes to start your escrow account. Closing costs generally are around 4% of the purchase price. These estimated costs should have been included in that cost estimate sheet your lender provided that we talked about a little earlier. Depending on what market you're in, sometimes your realtor can negotiate that the seller pay your closing costs. However, in a strong seller's market, you will have lots of competition. So plan on paying these fees yourself so you don't lose that house. Tip number 6, trust your realtor's knowledge and professional experience. If you've done your homework and interviewed for the right realtor, you're in good hands. Your realtor should never pressure you into buying a home based upon his or her likes. It's your home and your investment, so you should be happy with your purchase. However, your realtor should always be there to advise you on resale value or point out home value decreasing things you may have overlooked, like backing to a busy street or being the first to purchase in a new subdivision. Again, it's your decision, but your realtor should advise you to take those things into consideration. Buying a home is an emotional decision, and your realtor is there to help make sure you balance the emotions with the practicality of it being your financial investment. Tip number 7, rent versus buy. I get this question a lot. Should I buy now or should I buy later? My answer is always buy when you're ready. But I do believe that everyone should eventually buy a home. Even if you're a very mobile person and move often because of a job, I still think it's a good idea to buy. In this case, you're probably looking for something that would easily be rentable once you move on. But you don't have to take my word for it. Please read Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Tip number 8. Have an idea of when you'd like to take possession of your house. If it's June and your lease is up in August, you definitely want to start looking for a house now, because not only do you need time to find the right house, you need time for inspections, and your lender needs 30 to 45 days to get you closed to process your loan. Tip number 9. When you are ready to buy a home, do not make any large purchases until after you close. It's very important. The idea here is that you don't want to do anything to negatively impact your credit or your debt to income ratio. So don't go out and buy that new car. And I know you're super excited about decorating your new home at this point, but you want to wait to purchase that after closing. You also don't want to have large sums of money moving around as well. Interesting enough, you also don't want to close any accounts unless your lender asks you to. Believe it or not, there's a trick to building and maintaining credit by having an open line of credit that keeps a certain percentage of balance on it. If you close that account during this process, you could effectively drop your credit score. Tip number 10, get inspections done by an independent qualified inspector. Please don't have your cousin Skeeter come over to check out the plumbing. And although your uncle, who's owned 10 homes in his lifetime and is super knowledgeable, you don't want him performing the inspection. He is very welcome at the inspection because you know him and you trust him, but a qualified inspector has a long checklist of things that he'll inspect that covers the entire house. There are a myriad of inspections that you may want to have, such as a whole home inspection, wood destroying insect inspection, radon testing. The standard inspection period in the Kansas City area is 10 days, or whatever's been negotiated in your contract. If some things are found by the inspector during the inspection that are questionable, he'll suggest that further inspections by a qualified licensed specialist, such as an HVAC technician or roofer, be had. Because of this, it's best to get those inspections done soon after going under contract. So that's my 10 tips when buying a home. There's so much more to cover, but 10 seemed like a good number to stop at. I hope you found this video useful. I would love to see comments with questions you may have or suggestions for future videos. As always, thank you for watching, and please don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more great videos. Until next time.